Take your marks.
You're listening to the Pool Boy Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Pool Boy Podcast as we look back at last week's British Swimming Championships. It's been a while since we've been with you. It's Steve here and Bob is with me, and we have been off the podcast circuit for a little while, Bob, but it was a great week to get us back into it. You were there on poolside most nights. How did you find it?
Very encouraging. I thought it was good to see the old-timers doing the business, those who could have retired after the last Olympics in Paris, but kept going. Max, obviously, James, and quite a few others I could mention in there. But yeah, I thought a really encouraging week. Some really good B finals, some very good juniors. I think we've been over it time and time again above 400, not quite so encouraging, but 400 below, pretty good.
Well, yes, indeed. I think I would echo everything you've said there, and there was so much great swimming to talk about. Lots of places for this summer's meets, Commonwealth Games for the 4 home nations, and European Championship selection up for grabs. And so people were getting times left, right and centre. And if we tried to talk about everything, we'd be here for about 2 weeks. So we're going to pick out some of the highlights and some of our sort of picks of the week and delve into those in a bit more detail, and we'll hear from some of the key protagonists as we go through that. But I think really only one swimmer to start with, Bob, who was sensational, and that is of course Angharad Evans. 2 British records in the 200 and the 100, and they were superb records as well.
They were, and to go sub 220, first British swimmer to go sub 220, and what puts her in the top 7 all time, something like that in the world. She's a superstar, and very much kind of under the radar for people outside swimming right now. I don't think she will be for very long, but it was the poise and the control and the fact she was so at ease with herself. I think she was a bit annoyed on the 200 that she didn't come back the way she wanted. And I'm going, you've done a 219 for heaven's sake. What do you mean? And I think she's a perfectionist. I think she's going to be doing that going forward. And I just loved pretty much everything about her swimming. I love what she said afterwards as well. Very much, not media trained or anything. Somebody just knows what they want to do and how they want to do it.
Well, you're right. She cracked 220 for the first time for a British woman. She cracked 65 for the first time for a British woman in the 100. And after that 100, I mean, you spoke to her after the 200. I managed to speak to her after the 100. So after that second British record, here's what she had to say.
The probably 5 seconds from when you touch the wall to when you turn around and see your time is probably the scariest 5 seconds since walking out. But, to see that 104 is just absolutely amazing, To get 2 British records in a week is surreal. I've never done that personally, and it's not a very common thing to do. But I knew before that race I'm in the fittest shape I've ever been in. I have that endurance, and I just really wanted to challenge myself this week, and that's what I've done, and it's given me a lot of confidence going into summer.
Did the 200 swim kind of lift the pressure, or did you put more pressure on you because you thought you were in great shape?
You know what? I think it actually put more pressure on me. I think it's more that I thought other people were expecting big things in that 100 from the 200. And one of the biggest things in my head is I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to be lower than other people's standards. But one thing I'm getting a lot better at is controlling those thoughts in my head just with experience. And I handled that really well before, and I just raced the race. And that's going to be the most important thing in summer. People are going to have different expectations of me. But it's just great to show off how much hard work I've been putting in training, and also just sort of the nerves as well.
Well, I think that's the key point, isn't it, really, is getting out of her own head, really, and just getting out and doing what she's capable of.
Can I disagree with what she says at the end? People will have different expectations of her. No, they won't now. They definitely won't now. They'll expect her to do brilliant things at the Commonwealth Games. Let's not forget, she could have represented 3 of the home nations there with her connections family-wise, England, Scotland and Wales. She could have swam for. No, I think she's actually, I'd say that's where I disagree with her. I think she's moved on to such a level now and such a big stage that people will expect her, either at Europeans or at Commonwealth, to break a British record in both events. So she has that mantle around her neck now. But I think she handles it with poise. She doesn't look phased. She knows what she can expect, and I think she knows other people will expect a lot of her now.
She does, and I think this summer is a big opportunity for her with, she'll have that pressure, you're right, because people will now expect her to win, but it's probably the case that she could win at the Commonwealth Games without being absolutely at her very best, and that might, give her that boost mentally, to get that medal, get that first medal, get the kind of the monkey off her back, if you like, and then move on from there. But she was excellent.
Yeah, and I think she'll be excellent this summer. And I'm really looking forward to what she can do in the Europeans, because I think there's still a lot of people in Europe who won't know her that well yet, who now will certainly sit up and take notice and go, oh, she can do a sub 220, can she? We're going to have to up our game now. Yeah,
there's some good racing for her in prospect in the summer, and we hope that she can bring back some medals for Scotland and GB in those meets, as we talked about. Now, she set 2 British records this week, or last week rather, and there was another in the women's races from Freya Colbert in the 200 metres freestyle. She'd already broken the British record this year, cracked 155 for the first time, a month or so before these championships, and she came back and she did it again by some margin, and it's another swimmer who just looked so good while she was doing that, Bob.
Yeah, obviously peaked at the right time, got her training absolutely impeccably sorted for this. And again, I like people coming out of the pool and saying that there's still things they can improve on. It's not the perfect time or indeed the perfect race. And I suppose there ever is such a thing as a perfect race. But she was a little bit down on herself in terms of how she structured the race. But the time spoke volumes about how good she was and all the preparation she'd done.
Well, she's focused in on the freestyle. She drops the sort of medley, and that was one of the things that you sort of asked her about, and how she got to this time, the 154 low that she went. So here's what she told you when you asked her that.
Last season, with coming in a bit late after the Olympics, I think we worked on a bit more speed because I hadn't had that historically, and then got into a bit more of an endurance block through January and February up at Edinburgh, up at altitude, It's really helped the back end of my race, along with a lot of DPS and technical work. Everything's really come together to give me that British record, that 154.
We've talked about how you juggle things before with the 2s and the 4s. Are you where you want to be with that right now, or has the 2 compensated for the 4?
I'm definitely where I want to be. I think focusing on the 200 free instead of the 400 IM is a strategic decision Dave and I made at the start of the season. The 200 freestyle is something I enjoy training and racing for more than I did the 400 IM, and we both felt more confident in progressing that to a level that was going to give me an Olympic medal in LA, and so we sort of made that decision because we didn't think we could do both to the standard we wanted to, and so I'm really happy with the compromise we've made. I feel like I can be all in on my freestyle rather than trying to juggle everything, and the bottom line was I'd rather have a medal in one event than come fourth in 2, so we really just decided to prioritise that freestyle training, and it's definitely paid off.
You got commies followed by Europeans very, very quickly. How do you pace yourself, make sure that's right?
I've got no idea. I've not thought that. Yeah, that's on to Dave. I think in his mind, the Europeans is the main goal. I want to come home with a gold medal around my neck from Paris, and that's definitely the goal in his head. I don't really know. We've not thought about it. I'm used to racing back-to-back with the World Cup, and I've done Worlds into commies into Europeans before 4 years ago, and so I think just keeping a lid on everything mentally and just taking each race as it comes.
Well, I love what she said there about I want to come back from Europeans with a gold medal around my neck. It's nice to see people having those sorts of aims.
And Dave Hemmings will know her inside out like he does all his swimmers. I'm a little bit disappointed that the 400 IM's not on the agenda for this year, but it can come back next year, and it might well come back for Olympic year, because at the moment she hasn't really got a challenger. We had the days with Amy Wilmot and Hannah pushing each other. It's a little bit of a kind of, so event's not quite there if she's not there at the moment.
I think that's fair. I mean, Katie Shanahan sat out of it at these champs as well, coming back from injury and illness, and maybe she will be swimming it in the summer if she gets picked in that for Scotland. But for Freya, it was a case of going all in on that 200 free. She's got some big people to race from the Australian team in the summer. Maybe that will pull her to an even faster time in Glasgow.
And then 4x2 is looking pretty decent now as well with her at the helm.
Well, yes, indeed. So that was a big boost for them. They had her at the forefront, and then a kind of a resurgence from Freya Anderson, who went 157 flat, which is her fastest time in years, and then really encouraging times from Leah Schlossen and Theodora Taylor as well. So yes, I agree that 4x2 is going to be competitive at Euros, certainly, and in fact well, even the England team, which 3 of those 4 ladies are English, so the English team will be decent at Commonwealth as well. So a real boost for that quartet as well.
They put a lot of store by the relays these days, and they have done for a while, to be fair. But once all the relays start coming together, and there's not like an outlier, looks pretty good right across the board.
It does indeed. Now, I had a conversation with Steve Tigg at the Champs, and you'll be able to hear that on a future episode in full. But one of the things he said, exactly as you've said there, Bob, is that they are going all in on relays for the European Championships. So they're hoping to basically win lots of relay medals in the Olympic relays, maybe less the sort of unusual ones that Euros has, like the mixed 4x2 or something, which maybe they'll give other people an opportunity in. But relays are a massive part of Britain's success over the last however many years, and they're going to try and build on that heading into LA. So it's great to see that women's 4x2 coming back into the frame as well. And we hope that that Freya can push that time even further on in the summer, closer to the 153 mark. And if she can do that, then she'll start being really competitive for global medals, which would be fantastic. You talked about the 400 IM, Bob, but there was another great swim over the 200 IM from the ladies for Abby Wood, who seems to have got a second burst again, having moved to Manchester from Loughborough at the start of this season to work with Ryan Livingston up there. But she went 2:08.17 in the 200 IM, took 0.7 off her best time, and she looked great doing it as well, Bob.
Yeah, good to see her back at her best. Obviously, a swimmer who has rarely let GB down, rarely let Loughborough's was and Manchester now down. And, again, one of our stalwarts. She can go in there and perpetually and regularly does really good times. It's good to see her back towards her best, and I think her PB is not too far away now.
Well, I mean, yeah, she smashed that PB, as I say, with her swim last week, and she's really kind of getting into competitive territory again on a global level. I mean, that event's pretty quick globally, but she's certainly moving herself in the right direction. She swam the 200 breaststroke instead of the 200 free, which I found interesting. I'm sure she will be on that 4x2 for England in Glasgow. But it was interesting to see her go back to that 200 breaststroke in favour over the 200 free, because they were the same session. And
yeah.
Because obviously she was rather good at that around Tokyo time, and has maybe only kind of dabbled with it since.
Yeah, and obviously there's no Molly anymore, and there's a bit of a gap, and we've had breaststrokers who've come and gone, and she's always been there, and we know that, we again, it's not an event where we have a lot of depth. We have some great, as we've just talked about, we have a great swimmer in the 200 breast right now, but we could always do with more depth, and having her in the mix gives it a lot more depth.
It does, and great to see her coming back to that event again. We talked about old stagers or stalwarts or whatever, if you like, at the start of this conversation, and the ultimate kind of long time swimmer, James Guy, was set us all off very nicely in the first event on the first day with his 400 meters freestyle, 3:44.0 something. Oh, no, 3:4. I'll get the time in a second. 3:44. 3:44.04. Yeah, there we go. I was almost there. 3:44.04, which is his third fastest time ever. His fastest since 2016. Last year, no. But last year I spoke to him, and he said that he was confident he'd get back to his best. And I will admit that I was quite sceptical about that. I was pleased to see him doing the 400 because I thought it would help his 200, but he proved me wrong for sure. I mean, that was a terrific swim, wasn't it?
Jimmy, I'm going to hold my hands up. I expect you to die on that race. Absolutely ridiculous. I thought he hasn't really changed, although I did talk to him about this, the way that he structures that race. He hasn't really changed the way he attacks it. And I thought, yeah, well, maybe in 2013 you could do that. But in 2026, I'm not sure that your body can hold up. But he's obviously doing some great work up there in Manchester right now. And he looked really good. And I think he was puffing like an old goat at the end. But he came back very strongly, started very strongly, came back very strongly, and kind of has vindicated his reasons for carrying on.
Yeah, well, like you, I thought he was going to come back to the field a bit more than he did over that last 100. Jack McMillan was coming fast, but not fast enough. But you mentioned you asked him about his pacing. Here's how he describes it.
I mean, tonight, to be honest with you, the way we're trying to do it is just like keep the first half really smooth, and whatever the time brings, the time will bring with that. And yeah, it was 1:49, but it's a 6 out of 10 rather than being 8 out of 10. So that doesn't matter to me because most of the guys will go out fast anyway. But trying to go out 152 and back 153 doesn't really happen anymore. So it's too slow. But yeah, it felt really smooth, and I didn't die either, which was quite nice.
Do you feel you have a British record in you?
You know what? I was 0.2 off there, so maybe, who knows? But me and Ryan were chatting with before, and some of my other friends, my family, saying, sorry, my mouth's really dry. Myself, PT, Duncan, Dino, Matt Richards, like in our careers, we've cemented ourselves in legacy, and now it's about having fun. And tonight I had nothing to prove at all. It's just racing and keep them young ones off the team.
I love that. Keep the young ones off the team, one thing, but he's just enjoying it. I think that seems to be making a big difference to him.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe I should have asked him about that, the mindset now that there's a finite time. You know that it's going to be LA, provided you get there, of course. That LA is going to be it. So when the end is coming. So you kind of go, right, keep yourself in good shape, still doing my training sessions, doing well. And I know that in 2 years' time, pretty much just over, I'm going to be done. So once you can see the finish line in sight, maybe it changes your perspective and perception of what you've got to do.
Well, that's a very good point, and maybe he's going to enjoy every moment while it comes. But if he's enjoying it and at the same time producing really great swimming, then it's good for everybody, isn't it? So It was great to see him.
And I love the way he's still got a big smile on his face. He loves it. He just loves being part of it. I think, he's going to find this quite difficult is when he does retire. He's been obviously around the swimming circuit for 13 years now. I think he's going to actually find it more difficult than lots of others when he walks away from it. Indeed.
15 national championships, as he was keen to tell everybody. So yeah, he's been around for a long time and been a great servant of British swimming, and 2 more years at least, we hope, of him being up there. And you never know, maybe he'll crack that 400 British record in the summer he was alluding to there. But that was only one of his 2 events. Obviously, he was part of the great 200 metre freestyle showdown that we have become accustomed to on the final night of competition. I, like many people, was hoping that he would finally crack that 145 barrier and get his 144. He didn't quite manage that. I mean, he did pick up the second spot behind Matt Richards, who swam a really, really nicely paced race. I think it's his sort of second or third fastest 200 freestyle, something like that. Jimmy was just behind him.
Dean being in there, though, Steve, I did miss Tom Dean not being in there, because that would have. I know Andy J was talking about what a great race and the greatest race of the year. I think it just lacked the Tom Dean element for me.
Well, I mean, we don't know where Tom is, and he's obviously injured and not swimming last week, and now reliant on selectors to take pity on him a little bit for this summer's competitions, but I suspect we will see him. I mean, he would have been in the mix, I'm sure. I don't know whether he's in 144 form to have troubled Matt, but yes, it would have made more interest perhaps having 5 guys.
And the amazing thing was we had 21 swimmers under 150. I don't think, maybe apart from the States potentially, there's any other country in the world will come even close to that.
I mean, Australia might have a go, but it's very indicative of the depth that event has built and the kind of success breeding success. Everyone wanting to get on that relay. I mean, Jacob Mills swam the 200B final because he wanted to make sure he could get on the England 4x2, I think, which he achieved. He won that. But yeah, the depth is excellent, and it's getting tighter at the top as well. I mean, it was 144.77 for Matt down to Jack McMillan at 1:45.77 in fourth, Duncan and James in between.
And even Max Litchfield made the final as well.
Yep, so there's another one who wanted to get on the team for England. So, it's just going to keep adding and adding. And they always do create a big race. And that was something I wanted to ask Matt about, actually, afterwards. He won it. And I wondered whether the time was a consequence of the race or he swam the time, in order to win, if you see what I mean. So here's what he had to say.
To me, it's never really about the time. I've tried many times over the years to go after times and go after, trying to swim as fast as I can. And I found that doesn't work for me. I'm not that kind of swimmer. You can stick me in a time trial. I'm never going to do anything particularly fancy. But you stick me in a good race where there's something on the line, and that's where I kind of come to life. So for me, it's trying not to focus on the time and trying to focus on executing the skills correctly, executing the race plan correctly, and trying to get my hand on the wall first. And I'm just very fortunate in my events in Britain. That always leads to good times. If you can get your hand on the wall first, it's going to be fast.
But you must be happy with a 44 point.
Yeah, buzzing. I mean, the last time I was at 44 was the final in Paris. So to be back down again towards those 44s is really promising. It bodes really well for the summer. That might be my fastest ever at this time of year. Really, really, really pleased with that. It shows I'm in a great place right now, and that just looks great for commies and Europeans, where there's going to be a lot on the line.
Well, he's quick this time of year. That's very encouraging, and maybe he'll be in the mix for a couple of goals in the summer. I mean, he has a certain Popovic in the Europeans, but even so.
But what we have with the top three there are our greatest racers, I think. You look back over the recent history of British swimming, and you think they are three of our greatest racers. Not just great swimmers, but greatest racers. You put them in a race, exactly like Matt said, he goes for it. Duncan goes for it. James goes for it. Never hold back. You're going to get 100% commitment from every race.
Absolutely. And we will. There was a bit of a rumour going around that they fancy having a go at that world record at Europeans. Finally, it's day one at Euros, so why not? So
I mean, it's kind of a bit of an itch that I want to scratch with that, because I think it should have gone by now.
Indeed. So we will look forward to whether that comes to pass. As I say, it's day one at the Europeans, so maybe that will work out nicely with that gap from Commonwealths to the Euros. But that's one for the future. Let's move on. Someone else who was very impressive during the backstroke events, with his 11th title in a row, having won all three backstroke events again, Ollie Morgan. The only reason he hasn't won 12 is because they didn't have a 50-metre event in the Olympic trials in 24, I would suggest. He's just a machine, isn't he, Bob?
But the weird thing is, right, I looked at the World Aquatics points that you put up the other day. His best race was the 100 in terms of points, right? It was the one he was most disappointed with. Because he had that kind of look on his face when he came into the mix zone. And he looked like he really wasn't very happy with it. He was much happy with the 200 and he was happy with the 50. He was not at all happy with the 100, yet it was actually, points-wise, the best race of the week from him. So just shows kind of the margins and the standards he set.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, as you say, he was a bit off and upset. He's maybe a bit strong, but he was certainly not glowing about that swim. And you consider that he's just gone 52.4 and he's thinking, I should have done more, it wasn't great, whatever. It's just I find it incredible that he can be that good, really. I know he was 52.1 last year.
Isn't that the mindset? Luckily, that's the mindset we now have in British swimming. It's called, obviously, Aquatic Sheep, but the generic British swimming is that, we have people who are doing world-class times, getting lots and lots of points and going, do you know what, that wasn't very good. And you think, you are really hard on yourself. But I like that reaction, because it means that there's plenty more, or should be plenty more in the tank. It's not a case of, I've done a really good time and I'm a decent performance, and you're happy with that. We've now got a clutch of swimmers, both female and male, who really never particularly happy even when they do world-class times.
No, and you need that, don't you? If you're gonna keep pushing it on and not be satisfied just with making teams and what have you. So great for Ollie. He had a bit of Luke Greenbank almost got him over 200. They were. It looked like Luke was going to get him, and Ollie somehow.
Actually, the best race of the week, actually.
It was terrific. I don't know how Ollie got back over the top of him in the last 2 meters, but they were. I mean, Luke had said to you the other day he'd had some trouble with the lane rope in the 100 final, and the two of them were kind of I think Ollie said
I
afterwards.
don't know if it's that. Is it that roof? Again, I heard them talk about that on the commentary. Is that kind of a lovely roof though? It is, and a lovely building though it is. I don't think that roof is particularly conducive to great backstroke, is it?
No, people have been saying that since it was built. I think it's an acquired skill to be able to swim in a straight line underneath it, and it was. Maybe Luke didn't quite have it last week. I think I did see something that Ollie said that they were practically holding hands for the last 5 meters, which I thought was quite good. But either way, Ollie got the win in all three. So congratulations to him for continuing that streak. And we'll come back in 12 months and see if he can make it 14 in a row, or whether one of the many people behind him can challenge, because there's a lot of backstroke talent. I mean, there was a Scottish record from Matt Ward, wasn't there, in the heats?
Yeah.
Some very good 50s.
Could be buzzing about that too. Yeah.
And then Jack Scarry was good in the 50. So there's plenty of competition for those guys. Cam Brooker in the 200. There was, as I say, lots of competition in the backstroke behind him. So
50 records still on the books. Not sure how long that's going to last.
No. I mean, that's a tough one to get though from the super suited era. But you never know. He'll get there, I should think, in due course. Right, moving it on. We saw the return of Adam Peaty. Well, it's another return of Adam Peaty. After a couple of breaks over the last year. He held off the young challenger, Philip Nwake, over 100 metres breaststroke. He seemed like he had a bit of a cold or something going on as well, but he was 58 point, which is got to be encouraging. 58.97 indeed, to 59.39, which is a PB for Philip. But he still seems to have the hunger, Adam. I mean, you spoke to him about it afterwards, but...
Yeah, and again, I think a bit like James, he knows he's got 2 more years. Obviously, he's now got the added bonus of having the 50 in the Olympic program, which I think is obviously the incentive for him to carry on. It's not just got potential for 1 gold medal, he's got potential for 2, and obviously the medley as well. But I think having the 50 in the mix has certainly relit the fire under him. Obviously, his life has changed. He made that point to me greatly over the last 18 months or so. But I think he's still got the hunger for it, and obviously Philip's chomping at the bit to try and overtake him, but he obviously can't quite do it yet. But he knows full well he's got to be on his game, or else he will. Well,
indeed, and I thought Philip was very good. He PB'd the 50 and the 100. He was a little bit off in the 200, but then his 200 PB was superb last year, right just off the British records. So he'll have plenty of time to get back to that in the summer, where he could well become Jersey's first ever swimming gold medalist. I think that. It's a better than even odds bet if you want to put some money in the 200. Yeah. So be interesting to see how he builds that going forwards. But great to see Adam moving back towards his best over 100 metres, and he was 26.5 over 50 as well. So pretty decent for him. Sticking with 50s. Well, and indeed hundreds, because she swam the 100 as well. Eva Recaro came back over from the US. She'd been swimming the NC2As just a few days before this meet. She PB'd in the 100 free. She PB'd in the 50 free. She PB'd in the 50 fly, I think. She was pretty good all round.
I wonder how difficult it is. Maybe I should have asked her this. How easy it is to adjust to yards from yards to meters. As you said, there wasn't much of a turnaround for her in terms of doing yards to meters. And it's got to affect your stroke rate, hasn't it? The fact that you're looking for the wall at a completely different time. There was no noticeable adjustment needed from that point of view. She wasn't coming in short, she wasn't coming in long. She seems to have made that natural adjustment, which is great credit to her, I think.
Well, indeed. I mean, you saw it with a few of the others who'd been at NC2As. It took them a few days to get into that meet, whereas Eva hit it really from day one in the 100 free, cracked 54 for the first time at 53.75 to win that, ahead of a real surprise swim from Evie Davis, who went 53.99. I mean, we saw her break out 2021 year, as a younger swimmer, and she's kind of not stagnated, that's a bit harsh, but hit a bit of a plateau in the interim years and suddenly produced a 53.9. So that was great to see from her as well. She'll be swimming for Scotland in the summer, and I'm sure they're delighted to see that as well. But hopefully Eva will now move that on even further. I mean, she's in a great place in Texas. Obviously, Bob Bowman, one of the coaches there, principally for the men, but I'm sure he has an influence on the program as a whole, and she seems to be in a really good program there. So fingers crossed she will keep building. But someone else who was making waves, I've already mentioned her in the context of the 4x2, was Theodora Taylor, who, every time you looked, she seemed to be in the pool pretty much. I mean, she swam what felt like about 600 events.
She's the new Hannah Miley.
Indeed, yeah. But she swam them all brilliantly. I mean, she big PB in the 50 at 24.5. She was fourth in the 200 we've just talked about. She was just off the top four in the 100. She could have made the final of the 100 breaststroke. She qualified for Wales in the 200 IM. She was just everywhere. I think she's really exciting. I mean, she was terrific in the World Juniors and European Juniors last year, and this could be her, her breakout summer in the senior ranks.
Yeah, and I wonder whether she has the similar kind of problem that Hannah had, to a certain extent, that you're good at a range of different events, and then you have to try and work out what are your best events, what you're most likely to get medals in, where you're most likely to be, getting the kind of races and the results you want, and perhaps it's a case of just maybe narrow casting a bit from where she is right now.
I mean, I did ask her that question after the 53, and she kind of suggested that I think she said, as I get older, and she's only 17 or 18, so okay, I'll steady on.
They can all feel old, thank you.
But I think she said she does acknowledge that keep doing these crazy programs will get harder and harder, and I think we'll see her maybe swim quite a few events at in Glasgow for Wales, but she will kind of focus in more as her career goes on.
I do wonder when you decide. I mean, it's obviously a conversation with the coach as well, but you look at where you're getting your PBs from, and where you potentially going to carry it on, or if you stagnated at an event, maybe just go, actually, it's not for me now, I'll just put it to one side.
Yeah, well, indeed. I mean, I think we saw it a little bit with Freya and Abby, that they've focused in on one event or another, didn't we? And then, and had great success in focusing in on those one events, but at the same time, people can multi-event like Theodora's been doing, and, that will undoubtedly serve her well when she's coming to pick her programs going forward. And I have to say, I think I'm probably most excited about her as people breaking out to watch in the summer. So keep your eyes on her, definitely. I think those were the kind of events that we picked out. Oh, I should say, actually, should just add in, talking about junior swimmers, Amelie Smith, who won the 400 IM by 12 seconds. In the absence of Katie Shanahan and Freya Colbert and others. She was another one who broke out last year. She was terrific in that event. 4:35 was a PB. I think she'll be very competitive in that event in the summer. And another junior who broke out was Gabrielle Idle-Beavers, who was qualified very high up in the 50 breaststroke, but then also touched second in the 100 metres breaststroke. I think she's 16, so she's one to watch as well heading summer. I think she might well get a nod for England for the medley relay, so if she does, that could be very interesting to see how she goes at Commonwealth Games, but that team yet to be confirmed as we're speaking. Bob, there are a few other things maybe you wanted to pick up on. I know you were very pleased to see Jacob Peters bouncing back after a couple of difficult years.
I was. And a very honest interview with him afterwards. Also a soft spot because he's always been good with me. We had a good old chat, and it was a bit of a psychiatrist therapy session a bit with him about the stuff that's not worked and how it is working, and whereas some others have changed their plans and gone to other clubs from Bath, he's stuck very firmly with Dave down there and feels it's working. He's getting back. He had the confidence again. Looked good on the 50, looked excellent on the 100. He's well and truly back. He's made the European team. It's not been on a European team, and obviously wasn't on the Olympic team, which hurt him greatly. So delighted to see him back. And at the other end, as you know, I always try and champion the smaller clubs, because we talk a lot about Bath, talk about Stirling, about Loughborough, etc. But what a great week it was for Kieran Grant, who's come through in the 50, got a bronze in the 50 fly. Well done, Scarborough. What a great find he's been. I don't know how long they'll be able to hold on to him in Scarborough, but that's fantastic for the smaller clubs to have. Obviously, we've got a situation what we know about our 1500 prodigy in the women's. That's well established. But in terms of breakout swims, I thought his was amongst them of the week.
Well, indeed, he went 24.3 was his PB coming into the champs, and he went 23.2 in the finals. So he did an excellent job there. He was actually under the England nomination time for Glasgow, but I have a feeling he's a bit too far down the list to get the nod. But
I think his time will come, though.
Oh, absolutely.
To me, again, you look at swimmers who go into that environment, big crowd they're not used to seeing, big noise, obviously up against big names, and they don't get overawed, they don't get fazed by it, and they knock out their best time by quite some way. You think, there's something about you that actually leads me to believe that you can do something quite special. Well,
another name to watch then in future years. Headed to next year's championship. I'm not sure how old is he. He's 20-ish, isn't he? So probably not in the junior teams this summer. But one to keep an eye on heading towards next year's championships or Euro under 23s or whatever that might come up next year. Bob, I know this is your favourite soapbox, but we're still working on the distance. I mean,
I'll be honest. I had a good old chat with a few quite high-profile coaches, and they're honest. They said we don't have swimmers who are prepared to do the work, and that's what it comes down to. It's an easy fix and an easy achievement to do the 50s, 100, 200. There's not enough people, and I don't know whether that's worldwide. It may well be, but in this country, it's very hard to find swimmers, male or female, who are prepared to do the meterage required. So that's why you might get one breakout swimmer in 1500 or 800, but that's about it. And that's why I've said for so long now, we need a centre, and I've suggested Wickham, but it could be anywhere, where the coaches just look after distance swimmers, right, and put them through their paces and get them through. Because I think whilst we've got depth in the 50, 100, 200, getting there a little bit in the 400 now, but 815, we need people to be racing. We need people not beating other people by 7 or 8 seconds. It's no good because they need to have other people testing them and racing them.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the men's side, the success of the 4x200 has been not sounded the death knell, but has been a drain on people who might otherwise swim the 4 and the 8. Because if you can swim 740, 4, 750, 800. Would you put the work in to get yourself down under 740 to be competitive globally, or would you maybe opt to try and get yourself under 146 for 200 and get on that team and then probably win a medal?
You'll be a chance to get on the relay right now.
Yeah.
Maybe subsequent to or beyond 2028 might be different because there's going to be a lot of people who potentially go. James is not going to be there. Duncan probably won't be there. Who knows, right? There might well be spots available. But I just think we don't need to do an either or. We need to look at, come on, there are swimmers out there. We're not having too many problems in open water. Get people in open water. So that big chasm between 200 and then open water, which, I want to see. Maybe I'm greedy. Maybe I shouldn't be greedy. People say, look at our success in the shorter events. That's great. But our legacy in the years gone by has been the 8 and the 15s, the Graham Smiths, the David Davis, the Dan Foggs, etc. They're not there.
No, and I think we can see that, but it's I don't. We don't.
If the coaches are saying to me, and they're very honest, saying, do you know what? We'd love to have 15s and 8s and some more 4s, but we don't have the swimmers coming to our program who are willing to put that effort in, and we can't make them do that.
No, and that's the crux of it, isn't it? So, no doubt there are initiatives in place, and we will have to hope that they can bring out the individuals who are prepared to and have that talent. But we will have to. It's not a quick fix, I guess, is what we're saying.
Are we trying to fix it, though? That's what I'm saying. Are we trying to fix it?
I think
we're not trying to fix it. We'll never fix it.
No, that's very true. I mean, I think they are, but whether there could be more done is a
I'm not
matter.
convinced.
Okay,
sorry, I'm just not.
Right. Well, let's park that one. Because
that's my hobby horse. You shouldn't have gone there.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know what I was going to say.
We'll talk about it again in on the next podcast. I'm sure.
We will. Yeah.
Quick comment on the qualifications. I mean, GB going to the Euros, we talked about. They had a team of 40 available, filled about half of it. They've got plenty of space to fill it up with relay alternates and other people who they want to take a look at, give experience. So that's really great. As I said,
a few juniors in there.
Sorry.
Get a few juniors.
Yes, I'm sure there will be a few of those. As I said, they're going all in on relay, so that will be no doubt mean there'll be plenty of people coming along for that. So look out for that team very shortly. England for the Commonwealth Games, I feel that they got the policy wrong. They've ended up with far too many qualifiers, really, 35 for 20 spots on the automatic list. And
why have they got 20 spots when you get 3 per country? I don't quite get that.
No, I mean, they've got a team of 28 maximum, which is Commonwealth Games England Commonwealth Games England gave them, I think, 43 or something, and they've got 15 para swimmers and 28 Olympic pathway swimmers. So 20 picked directly from the times, and then 8 that they can choose from. But obviously they've got to balance all the relays and everything. So the selectors are going to have a tricky old time, and they're going to let at least 7 people down who made the times and probably more.
And that's really tough. Certainly for a home Commonwealth Games, you really want to be in the home Commonwealth Games, and you think you've qualified, and then you get the phone call or the email or whatever to say, well, I know you made the time, but you're not going. Yeah,
and I think, not only were they perhaps a little bit easy, but it was quite lumpy as well, with the benefit of hindsight, in that things like James Guy's 200 free wouldn't have qualified him directly, despite being probably top 15 in the world, top 10 in the world type time. So, I mean, he will go anyway because of his 400, and they would have picked him for a relay. And so, I mean, it's not about James Guy. It just illustrates that the times were a bit inconsistent, it felt. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and I don't know why they've had a lot of time to look over this and work it out and say, right, and surely they know the pitfalls. Go, well, if this happens and this happens, we might be in a bit of a problematic situation. And they've kind of created a bit of a, not the easiest one to extricate themselves from, shall we say.
No, I mean, of course, the other way to look at it is to say, well, the swimmers stepped up and swam better than they expected, and that's why more of them qualified. So maybe we're being harsh on the selectors, and actually we should be looking at it the other way around and going, what great swimming it was that's given the selectors this headache. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with those spaces. Scotland have got a similar sort of problem in as much as they've got more people qualified than spaces, but not quite so many. I think they only had 2 or 3 over. So maybe a slightly easier job for those selectors. Wales have plenty of space. No, I think they're fixed. I mean, I'm no doubt there are conversations going, can we have a couple more with Commonwealth Games Scotland? But
there's no travelling, so
exactly.
Anyway.
but no, I think they're limited to their 25. So we will see what they all choose to do. Those teams will be out fairly soon. I think the GB one before the Commonwealth Games teams. But we'll look with interest what those selectors decide for their teams. I think time to draw this conversation to a close. Bob, great to talk to you again. It's been a bit of a gap, as we said.
Yeah, good to be back on, Steve, and good to be back in the pool again after such a long time.
Yeah. No, it was a very good week. Thoroughly enjoyable to watch it on from the pool side. In terms of what's coming next, there will be a follow-up episode to this podcast where you'll be able to hear more of Bob's interviews with the swimmers on poolside, hear more of their thoughts in a bit more detail about their swims and how they're progressing into the championships this summer. And as I alluded to, I had a long chat with Steve Tigg about his time in the role as GB head coach and about this summer's championships, the short turnaround from Commonwealth Games to Euros and what they're hoping to achieve at that meet. So that episode will be along next week. And you can hear all of Steve Tigg's thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch, you can find me on socials, at Poolboy on X or at Poolboy UK on Instagram, or you can go to poolboy.co.uk/contact to send an email. Until we're back with you with the next couple of episodes, thanks very much for listening.
You've been listening to the Poolboy Podcast. For more episodes, visit www.poolboy.co.uk/podcast.